can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free.
Hey. So this show always starts with a little music. I have music news. I got a lot of news on who's performing. It just came in the last hour or two for MLB. One we already knew, but you want to hear some names?
For what?
World Series.
Oh, like game 1
and 2.
See, I don't know anything about it.
I'll give it to you. Ready?
Yeah.
They're names you know. Game 1, Anthem.
It's got to be a Canadian. No?
I don't know if these people are Canadian or not, to be honest. Maybe somebody can look that up on the fly as we talk about it. Game 1, Pharrell.
Oh.
He's been all over all the postseason stuff, so he's clearly doing the ads. You've seen him on, so he's part of some deal that they have with them. So that's solid. It's a good start, right? We like Pharrell.
Canada.
Pharrell's an American. Sorry.
Okay.
I just looked him up. Nice. What else?
Game 2, BB Rexa for the American anthem. I'm a fan. She's good.
Yeah.
And then Alessia Cara for the Canadian anthem.
Nice.
She's also excellent.
BB was
Our
born in
home
Brooklyn.
and native land.
What about Alessia? Is Alessia Canadian? I'm curious because she's doing the Canadian
Cara?
anthem. She is really good. Very talented. You would know her songs. I'm not going to attempt.
Oh,
True patriot love.
Songwriter.
Boom. There you
There
go.
you go.
And lastly,
Oh, no.
I think it's mid-game maybe. They're doing a song. It's part of the Stand Up to Cancer that MLB does a really nice job with. Jonas Brothers.
Nice. Well, I know one of them. I think they're Jersey, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, they're so Jersey.
Yeah.
Jonas Bros? Yeah. They're very, very
I don't
Jersey.
have to look that one up. I know.
Yeah.
I think one of them still lives in North Jersey.
Yes, I know the one
Maybe
you're
it's
talking
your
about. Yeah, I know him as well. Yes. There you go.
Pretty cool. No Pennsylvania guys singing.
No,
No,
the Phillies
I didn't
didn't make
think
it to
so.
the World Series, unfortunately.
Todd, you know what's fun about the anthem? That's the one song they always played before I didn't play good. It's
I
unbelievable.
know. Isn't that something? Why would they always keep playing that song now?
Again and again. He'd have a bad day and be like, can we skip it just for superstitious purposes? And they were like, no.
No. When they were playing the anthem, I'm like, I'm going to have a good game. But every time they played the anthem, didn't have a good game.
Yeah. I remember that one time in Puerto Rico, it was raining, so they went and didn't play it, and you started. Felt like Tony Gwynn, didn't you?
Dingers.
Yeah. You just get scared, when you hear your country's anthem. All right. Anyway, it's Friday, as you can tell, but we're super excited. It's World Series Game 1 day. The World Series begins this evening, and we are going to have a post-game show. We'll give you a little more info. It's very simple, though. If you are watching the game, or even if you're not, you tune in to YouTube very soon after the game. Sometimes we go on a minute after. Sometimes it's a close game. We wait a few minutes. You watch the post-game interview on the field with Kenny Ballgame Rosenthal or Tom Bertucci, and then we're on live discussing what happens after Game 1. So we'll see you for it. And in case you fall asleep or something, we're still there for you on demand on YouTube with that post-game show. Let us charge.
Charging the mound.
I like this quote to start us off. Blake Snell, Game 1 starter. Hey, Blake, what's your approach against Vladdy Jr. and George Springer? His quote, I can tell you in like a week.
It's a great quote.
It is.
Yeah, he's no idiot. Or if I was him, I would have said the exact opposite.
Would you?
Yeah. Fastballs right down the plate. They can't hit a fastball center cut. I've seen it for years now. I've seen it for so many years. Those two guys especially, it's the weirdest thing. Just four-seam fastballs, about 94, 96, right down the plate. That's what I'm going to do. And keep a straight face.
Bold move, Cotton. See how it works out for you. I love it. Why not? We got guys at second base like flapping their wings and making circles. Why can't pitchers? Come back? But I'll tell you what they are going to do to George. You're going to see that slider that has been absolutely filthy for Blake, and you're going to see changeups. And everything else is going to be out of the zone because George hits lefty curveballs like nobody's business. So, and obviously he's going to be able to hit a heater, but Blake knows what he's going to do. And if he forgets, he's got it in his pocket, and he's going to look at it
Yeah, exactly.
in between pitches, and then he'll hit the button on his hip, and then he'll go and throw it. He's been nasty.
Yeah, and I think to your point, kind of to like finish it off, I don't think he needs to change just because who's up to the plate, honestly. This guy, whatever he's been doing, whatever signs they've been putting down, they've been synchronized, they've been in sync. And just because whoever's up, all of a sudden you want to change your approach to what you've been throwing and how nasty you are. Okay, if they get 1 or 2 out, then maybe change it up. But the way he's been pitching, whatever sequence he wants to throw to righties, don't even worry about the name. Worry about what you can control, and that's throwing your best pitch at that particular time. And he has been doing it this whole playoff.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk rosters too. Go ahead, Kratz, and then I'll pile on.
I was just going to say, you definitely just got it. Basically, Blake's just going to look at it and go, dude, this is a hot zone. I'm going to stay out of that hot zone unless it's like, that is like if somebody's hammering change-ups and he's like, that's my best pitch, I don't really care. But there's glaring areas that Blake Snell can go to. But you're exactly right, Todd. You want to stay with your strengths.
Also, the Dodgers are down one of their circle of trust relievers. It's a tough story. We don't have a lot of information, but Alex Vesia is not currently on the roster. There were reports yesterday that maybe he would be put on the family medical emergency or bereavement list, something like that. So the Dodgers shared that he's away from the team, and he and his wife, Kayla, are navigating a deeply personal family matter. So first off, most importantly, hope everything's okay, and thinking about them. There's more than just baseball on the field.
Yes,
we do cover the sport, though. Alex Vesia is one of their best relievers. Maybe he pops up later in the series if they figure that out, but we know for sure he's not pitching in game 1. That is one of their better relievers.
Yeah, definitely. And forget about sports. Anything that deals with family, that deals with friends, anything that you hear with a heavy heart, that kind of takes a toll a little bit, understanding that, listen, this takes precedence of everything. Forget about a World Series ring, family over everything, and we hope everything's okay. We will say prayers and all that stuff, well wishes, and again, we don't know the full story, but again, baseball does not come first when it comes to family.
So
Kratz, as far as strategy concerns, let's say Blake Snell isn't superhuman and gives you more of a 5-ish because the pitch count rides up or whatever, right? I mean, that's more common. I mean, Blake's been stupid good. But if that's the case, I mean, this definitely hurts for the Dodgers. This is the one weak spot where the Blue Jays could pounce.
I mean, they have 2 like real relievers that have pitched only as relievers, and Vesia and Trinan, that I think Dave Roberts really, really trusts. I wouldn't be surprised if you give like a short leash to a Clayton Kershaw if there is, if there's a little bit of a hiccup for Blake Snell. And you wouldn't expect that based on how he's been pitching, but it's the World Series. There's a lot going on. The Blue Jays are a good team. That's why they're there. And losing Vesia it's a big loss. But I'm glad the organization and him are able to say, you know what, I'm gonna step away and take care of this.
So Vesia is off for now. Ben Kasparius is not on. I mean, we haven't seen him much. He was a big deal last year, but we haven't seen him. I don't know if he pitched at all. I know he's on the roster, but I don't remember if he pitched at all. I don't think so in the postseason. Maybe in the wild card rounds. I don't remember, but I don't think so, actually.
I felt like I saw him warming up one time, but it wouldn't have been in the wild. It might have been in the wild card round. No, I feel like it was in Milwaukee. Was he active in Milwaukee?
Yeah, he was active in the last
I think it was in
round, but
Milwaukee.
I don't think he pitched. Okay.
Thinking about seeing him in the bullpen in Milwaukee is what is jogging my memory, but I don't think he got in the game.
No Tanner Scott, which is still crazy when you think about how the world really erupted, the jealous world, when they were like, oh, they get Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates, and they are completely uninvolved in the postseason. So that continues. But the right-handers activated are Will Klein and Edgardo Henriquez, who has good stuff, but did not have it in that wild card game, remember? Against Cincinnati. He was one of the guys where you're like, uh-oh.
Game should have been over, and he just couldn't find it.
Yep.
Part of that, like 63 pitch inning that, I mean, obviously they had a big lead, but you saw like, oh boy, Dave Roberts is like, all right, we got to go to somebody else. So, hey, he might get another shot. I doubt it in a close game, but he might get another shot.
Yeah, and it's not like the Dodgers don't have options. I mean, Emmett can go multiple innings. We'll see how Blake Treinen looks, but he's in the circle of trust. Roki Sasaki, of course. And, hey, Roki is capable of going multiple innings.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind, too. Tight game. They could bring him in the 8th. I mean, he went 3 innings in that extra inning affair against the Phillies. So keep that in mind. And, by the way, Kasparius Kratz did not pitch so far in this postseason, but last year in the postseason, 6 1/3 1 run. I mean, he was a big deal last year. Mm-hmm. That was his coming out party. Okay. Let's talk, and he wasn't on the NLDS roster, but he was added back to the NLCS roster. Now let's talk Blue Jays. Okay. Bo Bichette, he's on. Maybe during this show we'll find out lineups, so we'll share that. Also, Ty France is on the roster.
Ty France.
Yeah, Ty France. He's in there, baby.
It's crazy, man, to think like
Ty France is a good player.
You were just sitting in spring training or wherever you were getting some reps. I'm playing. Let's go World Series. This is so cool. So cool to see your name on the list. So pretty unique.
Yeah, 2 guys that had been hurt, right? Bo battling the knee issue, and they gave him a good enough to go, right? And then for Ty France, he has not appeared at all in this postseason. This is the first time that he's popping up for the team as well. I'm trying to remember. I think it was an oblique for him, but I'll double check that in a moment. So Ty France can give you a good at bat, and he's actually a really good first baseman. Obviously, Vladdy's playing first, but Ty's been a really good defender as well. Not going to be needed in that capacity.
Does he get in there tonight? I mean, because he's played against Blake Snell, and you'd think like, okay, well, they're not going to start him in games 2, 3, 4 because, and then you also have like, it feels like their bench is a little not thin, but a little like, they're kind of handicapping their bench with all their right-handed bats, and then like Ty France doesn't have a lot of versatility. Bo, obviously, we're going to see if he has versatility, but then you're moving your DH. If Bo's DHing, which is a possibility, then you could go George in right field, and then you got Barger at third base, but Barger probably wouldn't start against Blake Snell. So I feel like I'm interested to see how it's utilized. Obviously, Blue Jays would love it if they just go 9 guys, throw them out there. How you doing?
How you doing? I love that.
But Ty France isn't going to start. Where would he play?
That's what I mean. Kind of
not going to start.
Kind of hamstrings your bench.
Yeah.
Like you'd think they'd want a little bit more versatility than what they have, but I don't know what their other option would have been besides Ty France. So that's where I'm kind of misinformed.
Well, he takes over for Joey Loperfido. Loperfido replaced Santander. Loperfido's off, and France is on.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who can play, even if we made up positions in baseball, he can play them. He's just very versatile. So you've got that, and you presume he's going to be more of a bench guy for them now, right, Kratz? Well, depends on how the infield plays out.
Would you rather have a Bo Bichette DHing even at where he is now, or having like an Isaiah Kiner-Falefa or whomever out there playing?
For me, I would like IKF on the bench as my super utility guy that can fill in any spot if needed, and you can do defensive replacements later in the game. But for me, they said George Springer's capable of playing in the outfield. We have to go with what they're saying, right? So if he's capable of playing in the outfield, then great. I'll either take that, or if Bo is capable of playing one of those 2 middle infield positions, it does make you a better offensive ball club if you can do one of those things.
I think you put your best offensive ball club out there.
You have to.
And you take your chances.
Yeah.
And if you look back and they end up losing, so be it. At the end of the day, you had an opportunity to put one of the better and most prolific players in Bo Bichette out there, and you're going to leave him on the bench, and all of a sudden you lose anyway. Just saying, just per se, we don't know what's going to happen. Well, what happens if I put Bo Bichette out there? Maybe I should have taken my chances. So The risk you take by putting him out there, I think it's the risk you need to take knowing his capabilities.
Kratz, if Bo Bichette can play wherever good enough and pass their tests, what is the ideal lineup for the Blue Jays? And we can go with tonight. I know it's a lefty tonight.
I mean,
Position-wise,
I'd have to go
do the 1 through 9, but position-wise.
Position-wise, I don't. Watching him run, watching the videos of Bo run, I don't know that he can play shortstop for me yet. Especially when you have a Gold Glover who can play shortstop at a Gold Glove level in Andres Gimenez. So maybe you'd have him at second base, but for me, lineup-wise, I'm sitting there going, I got to have the best combination of George, Vladdy, and Bo. Like if Bo's ready to go, I don't care that I have 3 righties in a row. I'm coming out with my best guns blazing. Bo is in there to drive guys in, and you have 2 guys that get on base at a monstrous clip in Vlad and George. So to me, that's where I set it. That's where I set my lineup, and it's the first 3 boys at the top.
Okay. Let's ask a man there about his thoughts on how this is going to play out with the Blue Jays adding one of their best bats back into the mix. John Smoltz calling the game for Fox tonight. Coming up. Let's take you through the Arena Club Slab Pack experience. This is part 2 because Todd Father last week pulled a card that he didn't love, yet he sold it back for actually more than what the slab pack cost. This time, pulls a card that he likes.
Yeah, and this is the best part of it. Ronnie Mauricio, the Mets standout, rookie sensation. He's been absolutely phenomenal. I like the itch of seeing what you're going to get. I like prospects. I don't love them. But seeing this kind of card is actually absolutely beautiful thing. I know a couple people around town that would absolutely love that card. So there's going to be a lot of conversations going on here for Arena Club.
And what you do is you have it in your digital showroom. If you want to hand it out locally, then cool. You ask Arena Club to send it to you, and they do. Or you can sell it back like you see there. Instant offer for $193, but he's keeping it. And you can do what Todd Father does by going to arenaclub.com/foul and getting 20% off your first card purchase or your first slab pack purchase. We're back. There's a lot of chatter about what we were just talking about. Mikey, for example, in the chat, Bichette, first time ever playing second base in the World Series would be crazy. Yeah. The Jays left off Uriel Rodriguez. I guess we didn't get that part in there. Uriel Rodriguez is off the roster. Yariel Rodriguez. He pitched maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
Seemed to be like the last man in the bullpen for them. So they said, nah, we're good.
Oh, man.
He was getting significant innings during the year, too, for him. And towards the end, it started kind of flattening out a little bit. That slider didn't have as much depth.
There you go.
Yeah, and they're really focused. Probably wishing they had even one more lefty to try and neutralize the Dodgers. But, man, Mason Fluharty is going to be tasked with a big job. Right?
100%. To me, I think they may even walk Shohei more and try to get that lefty, that little pocket there with Freddie and Max. So I'll be interested to see how close Doc puts Max to Freddie there, because you can't get all 3. You have to be willing to say, okay, you know what? We're just going to get this guaranteed out. We're going to push this guy, to first base, that kind of thing. Like you can't say, I'll stay in there and get 6 batters. Can't do it.
Hey, we've got John Smoltz joining us right now. Of course, you'll hear him tonight with Joe Davis on the broadcast, along with Ken Rosenthal and Tom Verducci on Fox and on the brand new Fox One app. John, great to see you. We're excited for this one, and we'll dive right in. I know you're in game mode, so I don't know if you heard anything from our last combo, but how do you draw up Toronto's lineup situation heading into this game one? I know it's also a lefty, but now we've got Bo Bichette back in the mix. What do you think?
Well, the number one thing I would do is try to find a way to not get many left-handed batters in that lineup. I know their left-handers have been really good, but against Blake Snell, you're given a runway. He is nasty, and I would find a way maybe again, I'll be interested to see what they do with Bichette. I mean, the easiest thing to do would DH, but that puts Springer in the outfield, and then you could put Schneider in the outfield and maybe even Straw. But I think the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to seeing how the lineup and how many right-handers are in that lineup, because it's the only game he has to worry about that many right-handers is Blake Snell's the only left-handed starter.
What have you seen from Blake Snell? What do you – because we were talking about it earlier, like, hey, you know what? Just throw your game. But then I look at some of the numbers. Like I look at George Springer on curveballs, and you're like, okay, well, I can't land any of those. Like, what do you see from Blake Snell? Do you think even any of these scouting reports matter for him because of how he's throwing right now?
No, his release point's very consistent. When Blake Snell was not great, he was throwing too many pitches. And yeah, the statistics look great in 5 innings, 12 punch outs, 5 walks. When he's commanding his fastball and throws a changeup off of it, it's deadly. And then he's got a wicked curveball top to bottom. It's all about command and release point. He's in that place right now that you dream of being as a starting pitcher. I don't know how much this layoff is going to hurt him as far as timing and rhythm, but I think that's the thing to watch. You got the best starting pitchers going against a team that controls the strike zone better than anybody I've seen in a long time in the Toronto Blue Jays. So they're gonna be up there hacking, but they're only going to hack in the strike zone for the most part and see if they can work his pitch count, get him out of rhythm a little bit. But right now, no one's been able to do that. He went through the Milwaukee Brewers like they were nothing. And now the difference is the Toronto Blue Jays are the Milwaukee Brewers with power. And that's the biggest difference. Hard to believe they've led this all of postseason in home runs. You wouldn't think that would be the case, but they've played a lot more games. I get it. So that's really, to me, I can't wait to watch just that cat and mouse game of attack the strike zone against the hitters that do a good job attacking the strike zone.
Smoltz, I want to bring in, some of our fan comments on this. So 2 things that tie into what you're talking about right now. One, they said, does it even matter for right-handers with the way that Snell's new changeup is working? And 2, I thought this theory was interesting, even though it severely depletes the defense. They were like, what if Ty Francis DH tonight, Bo and Springer in the field? And then you can mess around later in the game. But what if you roll out a lineup like that to try and do the best you can against a southpaw in this situation?
I mean, that's, again, a wrinkle that's going to make him think about, if one of those pitches aren't on, the right-handers have an advantage. And it's just too easy of a lane against left-handed batters. I mean, he's so nasty with that breaking ball. You have to be an elite left-handed hitter to be able to have that chance. And right now, even though Jimenez came up huge in the series with his bat, he's not had much of that bat this year and more defense. So it really depends on what John Schneider wants to do. I think defensively, he doesn't have to worry as much against the pitcher he's got out there. He's more of a strikeout pitcher in Savage. So I'm intrigued. I think I would stack as many right-handers as I possibly could against Blake Snell and then deal with the rest, because really the left-handed relievers for the Dodgers are not exactly rolling out there in the right place either. So it's going to be an interesting matchup.
Talking about you, Savage, this young cat coming in and doing really well. Talk about what you're looking from him. How does he get these hitters out? And if he can get to 5 or 6 innings, that'll be a plus in my opinion. Right, John?
Absolutely. I think it all comes down to he can't live upstairs with the fastball against the Dodgers. There's too many good high fastball hitters on their team. But if he throws enough strikes and that split finger and that release point, they haven't seen anything like this. He went through the 2 teams. He had one little mistake against the Seattle Mariners in the first inning. But I'm telling you, this guy, he might be made for this moment. Only 5 starts coming into it. And I think his ability to throw that split at that 7'1" release point is unlike most hitters' release points. They just don't see that from a pitcher. And so he'll throw enough strikes with fastballs, he'll be in the game for 5 innings. If he doesn't, the Dodgers have a way of making you come to them, and then that's when they're at their best. So that split, the slider is actually way better than people think. It's just not a pitch he was going to have to rely on too often, because if he's got the split going, that's what he's going to go with.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of those splitters work. I mean, Gausman circle, whatever you call that splitter, is absolutely filthy. So they've learned it from each other. I want to ask you, it's like two-part question. It's pretty much the same. For the Dodgers to win this World Series, what is one key thing that they're going to have to pinpoint on, or is it just the same, keep doing what you're doing if you're the Dodgers, don't change a thing?
Yeah, I think it's the first time I've seen Dave Roberts sit on the dugout bench a long time, watching his starters go 7, 8, 9 innings. That's not been the Dodgers of the past. So if that stays the same and you don't expose the bullpen, which has been a little bit of an issue going after the end of the regular season, I think it comes down to the offense not striking out too much. If they don't strike out that much, their offense is good enough to put up the numbers required to win. The only thing every once in a while the Dodgers run into is if you strike them out, you've eliminated their ability to beat you with slug, and that really came into play a little bit for Ohtani until he hit those 3 home runs. So it's a battle of the best starting pitching we've seen in a long time against a really, really good offense. And then the starting pitching for Toronto has been average to good, but it's not going to have the depth that the Dodgers currently have. And going against their lineup, the Toronto Blue Jays bullpen better be great. And if they're great, they got a chance to win the World Series.
And talking about bullpen, the middle relief, how does Toronto, they get to that middle relief early? I know they don't swing in many pitches outside the zone, and they're trying to get that pitch count up. But I believe, in my opinion, for them to have a chance, they have to find a way to get to that middle relief to put a little more pressure on these guys.
Yeah, they have to. They basically, if they win the World Series, I can make an argument they went through some of the best pitching I've ever seen that didn't look great. They made the Yankees look like they weren't even that good. They made the Seattle Mariners starting pitcher look like they weren't even one of the best staffs in the American League. And if they do that to the Los Angeles Dodgers, that means they've knocked them out early, they've gotten into their bullpen, and they've caused havoc. That is the way that they're going to win the World Series. They cannot, in my opinion, effectively beat the Dodgers if those starters are going 7 innings, every one of them, or 8. And I think that's going to be the blueprint to try to figure out, even though they're aggressive and they see less pitches per at bat than anybody, they have a way of making sure the pitcher, if he's not on his game and in the strike zone, then they're going to pile up some pitches. They're not free swingers. That's the beauty of it. They don't just swing to swing. They swing in the strike zone and really command it well.
All right. Well, if you were to give advice to the Dodgers team, but also Blake Snell, or even, any pitcher that's throwing, what's it like throwing in the Sky Dome? Obviously, it's Rogers Center, but when you threw in it, it was a Sky Dome. You have some experience. What do you give them as far as advice for the crowd and the different kind of noise that there's going to be tonight?
Well, it's going to be the loudest crowd they faced all year. I know Philadelphia is extreme, and it's an outdoor stadium, and you might give them the nod in an outdoor stadium, but in a dome, I've never heard a crowd this loud in my life. They're hungry. Obviously, since 1993, they haven't had this come their way. And I think the biggest thing is the Dodgers, since last year being down 2-0 against the San Diego Padres, they're a different bunch. They rallied together. They've done things players only. They're a humble, confident team, and they're probably as calm as they've ever been. So I don't think that noise is going to bother them, what they've been through. You got to remember, a year and change ago, they were going to be eliminated, and the narrative was going to be different. And since then, whether it's flying on their own, dinners on their own, players have separated themselves from the noise, literally, and they have flourished, and they have been through pretty much everything you could go through. So that's why they're the favorites. That's why they're confident. And I'm not so sure the noise is even going to bother them, but it sure is going to be loud.
All right, this might be a dumb question. Did you ever throw a game 1 of the World Series? I should have researched this before. Okay. What's more pressure? Game 1 to set a tone, or game 2, or like following a loss to then reset the guys back?
I think the biggest game always is game 1 to pass the baton on to your teammate. Unfortunately, the game 1 I won in 96, we won game 2, and then we didn't win another game. That's what the Toronto Blue Jays did. They were the last team to do that, lose their first 2 games at home, and then come back and win a series, although be it in 7. And I think the other interesting thing, which is crazy because stats are stats, any team that is swept coming into a World Series team that has won their previous series in 7 games, the team that has swept has lost every World Series appearance, which is crazy. That talks about the layoff, and that also talks about the team coming in that had won a 7-game series. So take that for whatever that is, but that's out there. And I think winning game 1 is always important, and I think it sets the tone. But in this case, it's probably more important than ever for the Toronto Blue Jays. They know they got to win at least one game at home, and game 1 would be an unbelievable lift for this town and that team.
Hey, Smoltzy, with John Schneider kind of learning as he goes deeper into the postseason, do you think he'll do anything funky bullpen-wise in the World Series? I mean, for example, I keep bringing this up. Okay, Kevin Gausman's pitching game 2. Could we see Gausman on his throw day appear later in this series, right? He appeared in game 7 for them. It seems like Chris Bassett had a nice inning for them. Maybe you see more of him. I would imagine that there's a key, and I know you're always big on this, to limit looks, right? You don't want to see Louis Varland in the same spot every damn game against the same guys, or eventually you're going to get punished.
Yeah, I agree. I think Varland is his most trusted right-hander in trouble. But I believe that what John Schneider and every manager that they go through, they learn that trusting your players doesn't always work out because the execution doesn't work out. But you have to have trust. I don't think he can go away from Little, the left-hander, even though that environment really got him in the 8th inning. Maybe that's not the scenario to put him in. But he's big, very big on trusting his players and the roles that they're in. He trusts his pitcher that if he brings in a starter, to your point, he's going to trust them. And I think that's great. But I think the biggest thing that you'll learn about players and pitchers, when they're in a moment that's too big, their eyes or whatever, their body, you start seeing things that you might have to throw caution to the wind. And I think for Varland, he thinks, and he's been unbelievable, even though he's given up some home runs. He's faced some really, really daunting tasks. If you think about all the times he's been used, he believes that every day that he puts him in, that fastball and slider is going to play. So it's a great question. And what he's learned over the last 7 games, he hasn't had to answer in a negative way because they've moved on. But he knows he's always a moment away from being asked a question. When your starters don't go deep, which they're not going to go deep for Toronto, at least we haven't seen it, you're going to have to rely on that bullpen. And that bullpen is going to have its hands full big time now with the Los Angeles Dodgers and the ability for them to slug.
John, can you confirm that this is the last World Series you'll do for a few years because you're going to put your name in the hat for the Braves job?
No. I barely get to go to the Braves game and be in that. I don't think we're so far removed from that organization. I don't even know if they know that we're in the Hall of Fame. So no, that's going to be somebody else that follows a different criteria of how they're going to manage that baseball team moving forward.
What do you think?
Hey,
what do you think?
yeah.
What do you think they need? What do you see them needing to put in that position based on what they already have on that roster?
Personally, I think they need somebody that can convey to some of their star players what that star player needs role to be successful. I think they need to handle the inside of that clubhouse better than the numbers that everybody seems to be focused on in the analytics. And they got to get guys pulling in the right direction so that their guys that they signed are there for a long time. And yes, health is the number one reason they'll be successful this year. If they stay healthy, they're going to be successful. But you still have to be able to pull in the same direction and guys do the things you got to do to win baseball games. You can't just rely on awestruck talent that looks great on paper and looks good on the back of a baseball card.
Yeah, and it's got to happen from the jump. Obviously, it was a slow start. I get that they had the rough road trip out west, but they never recovered after a week of baseball. It's just crazy. Until the end of the season, they got on a roll. But anyway, we'll focus on the World Series. Smoltzy, great stuff. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. Obviously, everyone can catch you on Fox tonight and the brand new Fox One app. Have fun.
All right. Thanks, guys.
FT fam, be right back. presented by Fox One. I'm checking out the chat while I'm talking about this, so send some questions in, and I'll get to them in like 30 seconds. But this episode is brought to you by Fox One. Thanks to Smoltz for joining us. We'll have some other Fox guests joining us throughout the World Series coverage here, so we're looking forward to that. But Fox One is here. It is live for the World Series game tonight. You can be inside the app and watch that World Series game and enjoy it and get a 7-day free trial. If you haven't tried it out yet, fox1.com is the website. Now's the time. QR code is on the screen. And also offers are subject to change, but that's the one right now. You can go to Fox One for complete terms and conditions. Fox One streaming now, a lot more than just baseball, but we know what tonight is all about. All right,
no-brainer.
No-brainer. Let's get a few questions and comments from the chat here, trying to be super interactive today. Jason said, it's worth mentioning the Jays have never seen Yamamoto either. Yeah, I mean, anytime you're seeing a dude for the first time, it's not ideal, right? Until you actually see him, especially if he's nasty, right?
Especially if he's unique, is where, like, I think Trey Savage is going to have to figure out how to change some things up after he goes through the league a few times, because it's a novelty. Yamamoto is like the opposite. He quick pitches you and he's throwing from right here. So you're like, okay, everything is going to stay flat, but then that fastball jumps on you and the splitter still has depth. So the unique part, like nasty, is kind of relevant. Like you have to like put the numbers to it, and can the Blue Jays say, okay, we see what this is and make the adjustment? That's what the Dodgers do better than anybody.
So, some other questions here. Some people asking what hotel Smoltz at. I'm not going to ask him that. It's like kind of taboo to ask someone where they're staying for security purposes. I think some of it's tongue in cheek because they're like, oh, is he in the ballpark one? Usually the broadcasters don't stay in that one. So I would say 90% chance that he's elsewhere. Teams don't stay there yet.
He's in Toronto somewhere.
He's definitely in Toronto, and there's some good hotels around the ballpark, so you've got options. Ryan asks, what does Smoltz and Joe Davis get for team access during production meetings prior to the series starting? I mean, we didn't get to that question for him, but I can answer that one for you. So you get to talk to both sides. You know this too. You just did this in the postseason. Yep. The league sets up conversations with the managers before the game. You also can grab players, but there's formal meetings set up with the managers. Yeah, that's all season long when you're calling
20 to 30 minutes each guy.
Yeah. Hot corner, let's sizzle, baby. We got the umpires announced for the World Series, and we're going to show you, thanks to Umpire Auditor, their season rankings out of 92 umpires. Will Little ranks 30th. Adrian Johnson in Game 2 ranks 75th. Mark Wegner in Game 3 ranks 38th. John Tom Payne ranks 31st. He's doing Game 4. Clap it up for Alan Porter, who was epic in that, Game 5 of the ALDS, going a billion innings. And he's ranked 3rd. Adam Hamari's ranked 15th out of 92. And Jordan Baker is last. He's ranked 64th out of 92. Isn't Baker the dude that's a monster?
The tallest one. Yeah,
he's like
I
6
came up
billion.
In the minor leagues with him, man.
Yeah,
fun.
He's a good dude, right?
Very good.
But he's very tall.
I'm surprised he's 64th. It's a little low for me. I mean, however you say it, I think it's too high. I would say for him. I want him lower. So pick it up, Jordan. Let's go, man. Nah, that's my guy. Good dude. But yeah, I don't know how they pick him. I don't know. I thought you would go by top 7, but what are you going to do?
No, top 7. Gosh,
why would you
have one guy in the top 10? I mean, I feel like a broken record, Kratz, because we do this all the time and we do this for every round. And I feel like the league gets pissed that we talk about this, but this is why we're an independent show. We don't have to answer to everyone. And really, if someone told us all about the system and provided more transparency, I think it would be a really big deal for a fan base, for all of Major League Baseball fans to understand, hey, I just want to know, what went into this? What happened to the number 1 guy? What happened to the number 7 guy, right? He wasn't nice? What did he do wrong?
Yeah, I don't know. That's very curious.
Yeah, he doesn't have seniority. Okay. Neither does Trey Savage, and he's starting Game 1.
Yeah. To me, the equivalent of this is saying, okay, I know the Mariners lost, but man, Cal Raleigh had a great year. So he's gonna get to play in the World Series too. That's what it kind of feels like with the umpires sometimes. These guys want this. These guys definitely want to be in the World Series. One, they get a it's prestigious. It's like, hey, you know what? I did this. I did the
Resume
2025 World Series. I did, my first ever championship series was 22. They talk about that stuff and they get bonuses for this. So why can't we tie it to success and failures in the season? And it doesn't have to be 1 through 7. It just has to be more transparent, like you said. Just tell us how you picked it. And to me, when you don't tell us how you picked these guys, it just means it's random. It just means they pick guys that have some seniority. The thing that I think is cool about this whole group, I was in the minor leagues with every one of these guys before they were full-time big leaguers. Like Adrian Johnson, I saw him in the minor leagues, but he had big league time. Mark Wagner, same thing. Everybody else, like we came up through the minor leagues together, and then they've been established. So for me, I like seeing all these names. It's really cool because you don't have the old guard, many of the old guard in there right now.
Yeah, the problem to me is that it appears as if there is an everyone gets a medal situation. Like you can't be umping in the show for a long time and not get certain playoff games or even World Series games, and that just doesn't make sense. I mean, we're in sports. It's about competition. It's an honor just to be an umpire in the major leagues.
Yes,
so once you got that, great. Now, if you're not one of the best behind the plate, that's okay. You don't have to call pitches behind the plate. It's okay. You can do that in the regular season, but in the postseason, I just don't think that's the time. But again, I feel like a broken record on this, but it's true.
If everybody wants a medal, if they want to do it where everybody wants a medal, then you know what? You want to be behind the dish on one of the games, we're going to continue the same route that we have right now where it's kind of random, it's kind of seniority kind of thing, like, oh, neat, everybody got it. Top seven get all 7 games behind the dish. Doesn't mean you're going to work in the field, and the guys that are working in the field not necessarily going to work behind home plate. You earn it, you get there, bada bing, it's over.
And if you're the worst in the league, you get the celebrity softball game next year.
Relegation.
I'm kidding, but like I'm out of words for how this works, where you don't look down, and I don't need 1 through 7. Like even if it's just, hey, we got the top 25 in here because maybe there's some issue with seniority, whatever. It's just like the fact that we have some guys that are ranked, pretty low. Like we've got a 75 out of 92. Like that's not cool.
And they can make their own rankings for it. Like
they do. I think that's part of the dispute. They have their own rankings, but they don't all have to do with home plate.
Maybe these are the rankings that came out with the top 7
of
their own.
Then be transparent. Tell us that.
All right. I'm not saying
it
is Kratzy, but I mean maybe something they've seen their whole year. Like, this guy, his numbers transpired to be number 6. Like we don't know this. They don't go by this.
I agree. Show it.
I would love that.
It's not the FBI. Show us the results. Thank you very much. Coming up next, Kevin Pillar. We're going to get the Blue Jays aspect of this World Series.
The Jays.
Hey, we've got a Lids giveaway winner. We fired up a contest a few days ago. Cue the fireworks from Andy's Vantage on IG. Living the good life at Duke. Nice. That's a good time for him. Duke's got the young boozer kid. You heard about him?
I've seen him play on TV, of course.
You have?
I saw
some highlights from his first game. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Congratulations.
Yeah, his son.
His son is ridiculous.
Twin.
So Andy's going to get to watch him. He's having a really good week. But Andy also won our Lids giveaway, so he's got the custom hat coming through of his choice team-wise, and he's got the nice Bowman Chrome box. A beauty Bowman Chrome box.
Andy, leave that with me, bud.
It's the nice one, too. Some people were like, is that the $50 box? I'm like, no. I looked online, $400 for that box.
Even if it is the $50, you're going to take that.
Yeah, there's some gems in there, but he's getting the good stuff. So that box is sitting in the studio in Orlando, Florida. So next week we'll get to sending that out to you. But congratulations. I think it was one of the easiest contests ever, Kratz. Sometimes you get like 20 assignments online, and we're just like, just comment who you think's winning the World Series. We're just trying to have a good time, give out free shit. Yeah. It's that simple. Just a little boop. Who do you got?
Smart move.
We're not holding you to it. I gave a fake answer because I knew I wasn't going to win. I said
with a fake name.
I said something like the MLB International is actually what I said. Because you still have an American team in the Dodgers, and they're a big market. Then you have the rest of the country that's mostly rooting against them because they're considered the evil empire now. They stole it from the Yankees. You've got all of Canada watching, and you've got all of Japan watching. This is the most global World Series of all time. And obviously, I mean, the game's huge in the Dominican Republic, Venezuela, etc. You've got players from those spots too. Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very well represented international World Series. I think the best one ever.
Wow, ever.
100%.
Yeah. I think global ratings will be the best we've.
All right.
Everybody, all other sports want to sell the game internationally. They got to take their teams over to London. They got to take their teams over to Brazil. No better way. We have a melting pot of players from so many different countries. I agree with Scott. This is easily the largest globally watched World Series.
Mm-hmm. Time for an MLB 9 innings 20 conversation about the World Series with our guy looking fresh.
Start again, man.
Kevin Pillar. Yeah, he's fresh. He's got it. And he's ready to go. KP, happy World Series day to you. And what do you have for us tonight? I mean, you've been a little Nostradamus in terms of predicting what's going on with the Blue Jays. So would you like to make one fan base really happy and piss the other side off?
First off, I want to say this is exciting for me. I mean, as you guys could attest, you work your whole life to play in a World Series, and unfortunately, I didn't get an opportunity to do that as a player. So me kind of being able to hop on the back of this Toronto Blue Jays team, kind of be brought back into that ecosystem, it's exciting for me. You know, my heart's kind of beating fast. I got a room right here looking at the Rogers Center, and I mean, the line right now just to be outside the stadium is crazy. Like the fact that I'm going to get to step foot. I never went as a fan either. So this is really exciting for me. In terms of predictions, so I've been getting a lot of questions from friends at home. And for the audience out there that don't know, I grew up in Southern California. That's where I was born. I was a Dodger fan my whole life until I got into professional baseball. So I got a lot of friends and family still back at home that are Dodger fans. Some of my family converted to being Blue Jay fans, and then I took them through the ringer of the league. So they're actually very confused. But I think more than any series that I can remember, I think this has got the biggest randomness to it. I mean, I could see the Dodgers winning in 4, and I could see the Blue Jays winning in 7, and pretty much anywhere in between. But I want to see the way they deploy this lineup before I kind of make a prediction, because even though that I'm kind of in that inner circle with the Toronto Blue Jays, I don't know entirely what Bo is capable of doing. You know, I think he is the great equalizer when it comes to just adding pure talent to the Blue Jays lineup. So I'm curious to see how he's used tonight.
All right. Well, if you're kind of in the inner circle, maybe you're just on the outer circle and you're looking, have you seen him run? Have you been on the field? All we've seen is videos from the roof of the Rogers Center.
Yeah, I've been in there. I saw him run in Seattle. I saw him run the other day. I've had a one-on-one conversation with him. Obviously, the injury he has, it's public knowledge. It's not an injury that's going to heal in this short amount of time that he needed in order for it to heal. But he's feeling confident. Every day was a step in the right direction. What he's been doing behind the scenes in terms of, his routine hitting and keeping his arm in shape and kind of recreating that speed of the game in the box. And if there's one guy that I would bet on out of all the players in Major League Baseball, he's near that top of the list of guys that I would feel comfortable rolling into a batter's box, not playing in over, a month and a half, almost 2 months. I think he's that good of a hitter. I think his hand-eye coordination is that good. I think he's born to be a professional hitter. And he might not be the same guy, but I think his 60, 70, 80%, whatever he feels like he is better than, some other options that they have.
Did you see any change in the running? Because the running videos I've seen, again, they're from long distance away, maybe from your hotel room, I'm not sure, but it didn't look good. It didn't look like somebody that I'm like, okay, I'm not debating the high eye-hand coordination traject, getting his at-bats. He's going to be able to – he'll be ready with the stick. But did you see any change from Seattle to here?
I think it's the way he's been bouncing back. Yeah, I mean, he looks a little hobbled when he's running, but for someone who's also, had to come back from some injuries, and never like an injury like he's had, but you have to kind of check the boxes when you go out there and run the field. No one's really going out there, making the tightest turns around the bases. The risk reward of him going out there and, showing he could run at 100% is not worth the risk of injury, I think. And as you guys know, you guys played, a game adrenaline's a crazy drug. He gets out there and he's able to kind of move around. How well is he going to be able to move side to side? Where does he fit into this Blue Jays roster? Is it at second base? I don't believe it would be shortstop. And I think the big thing to also remember with this too is George isn't 100% either. I don't feel confident with them and I don't think the Blue Jays feel confident in rolling George out there in right field. I think if a situation, happened where, that was the last case scenario and they needed George to go out there for a couple of innings, he would do it. But for him to start out there, given what he had just gone through, less than a week ago, getting hit off the knee. I mean, he was even uncertain going into game 6 and game 7. And as you could tell early on in that game, his swings weren't great. You could tell the knee was bothering him. He took that swing, he fell to a knee. You could see him grimacing in pain. But once again, the most amazing drug in the world, adrenaline, playing in front of 47,000 people. Did you see how high he got off the ground running first base with a guy with a bum knee? So only imagine what Bo would feel like if he was able to, not only run out of the dugout for maybe the opening ceremonies, but maybe get a chance to pinch hit or maybe even play second base. Like, I think you go out there and you see what he has to give you. And obviously he's been on the field the last couple of days. They have a better indication of where he's at, but game adrenaline's a crazy thing, especially on this stage.
Love adrenaline, love it, eat it up. I know you ate it up with all those nasty catches you had there in center field. One, talk about how this atmosphere is going to be in Toronto. I know you kind of talked a little bit about it a while ago. Talk about the atmosphere and talk about how they get on Blake Snell early and often, because when they score early, they really find ways to win ball games when talking about the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I think there's no secret in baseball anymore. When the Blue Jays are in the playoffs and their teams are very good, they have a true home field advantage, especially when the roof is closed. I don't think there's a louder place in baseball than the Rogers Center when it's rocking. And, credit to the Seattle Mariners, in that game 7, they were able to score a little bit early, and baseball is a weird sport. Baseball is a very reactionary sport. Like, it's hard to just kind of manufacture noise and, people that come to watch games, it's hard to be loud and be excited when the game is not that exciting and when the other team is winning and you don't really have much to kind of show for it. But what the Blue Jays did a really good job is crawling back into that game. And then obviously the Springer moment, I'm surprised the roof is still on that stadium, how loud it was in there. It was one of the best scenes that I had ever seen in baseball. And I was a player and got to witness Jose Bautista's bat flip in game 5. And there was, honestly, I think the difference was there was this build up to Jose's home run. Like, there was the airs, the stadium was kind of loud, and then the roof blew off. George Springer's going into that inning, that stadium was almost dead silent. And then there was this very, very slow build to, obviously, when Springer hit the home run, it was probably the loudest I had ever heard a stadium. But I've been talking about this, and you like me coming out with crazy predictions and crazy thoughts, right? As great as it is to host a playoff game and especially a World Series, I always feel like the pressure's on the home team. One, you're playing at home, you're expected to win. Mm-hmm. You have all these people coming to watch you. This is the first World Series game in 32 years held in this great city. I think you saw the effects of that in the CS series when, they had all the rest. They had their starting pitching lineup. They had a fresh bullpen. They finally won a playoff series since 2016. Seattle's coming off this very long, emotional series. Every reason to kind of bet against the Seattle Mariners and hop on the Blue Jays bandwagon. But I always feel like the pressure's on that home team for that reason. Baseball is very reactionary. If you don't give the fans something to kind of react to, then you start to feel the tension. You start to feel the nerves. And I think seeing that firsthand in the Rogers Center and pretty much everywhere else you go in baseball, you feel that as a home team. I felt it when I played in Atlanta. When we were there, we didn't give them a lot to cheer about. And then you could kind of feel this nervous energy enter the stadium. And not only now are you trying to battle the team you're playing against, you're trying to find a way to energize these fans again. So I'm always a little skeptical to put a lot of stock into the home team early on in the series. I feel like as you kind of get into the flow of the series, I think home field advantage plays a little bit more.
So did you purposely duck Todd's question?
Which one? How do they get Blake Snell?
Yeah, is it because of all your elite success? Kevin Pillar is going to be active. You're going to rip your jersey off, and you're batting third tonight. You got 3 dingers. You're 10 for 25. You own Blake Snell, so that's why you're not saying anything. But we need to hear how can the Blue Jays own him?
Yeah, much like the first pitch, I'm like I said, I'm a team guy. I don't like the attention on me. Yes, I am well aware of my success on Blake Snell, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be asked about it on Sportsnet tonight to kind of talk about what I would do. Blake Snell is an elite pitcher with elite stuff. I think what the Blue Jays offer is the ability to swing at strikes, put the ball in play early. I think if they can eliminate strikeouts, and I never pitch, and obviously, Kratz, you probably have a little bit more knowledge in this department. When you have a guy like Blake Snell that is an elite competitor that loves punching tickets, if you don't allow this guy to punch tickets, does he try to reach back for more? Does he start trying to throw wipeout pitches earlier? If he's not getting a lot of swing and miss, does that kind of affect the way he feels about his stuff, even if he's getting outs with those things? I don't know Blake Snell personally, but I would love to get your take on that. If you have a guy who loves his stuff, and he's, one of the best pitchers in baseball at punching tickets, getting swing and miss, and he's not getting those things, even though he may be getting outs, does that affect him? But what I think the Blue Jays do in order to counteract Blake Snell's aggressive or greatness is continue to be aggressive. Don't allow him to get deep into counts. Don't allow him to get 2 strikes where he can start to throw his wipeout stuff. I think the Blue Jays have, and I've talked to the hitting coaches there with the Toronto Blue Jays, what they are really good is they want you to be you. They want you to stick to your strengths. For me, against Blake Snell, I usually tunneled the inner half of the plate. I wanted to battle the fastball slider. I wanted to avoid the fastball and the changeup on the outer half. I felt like I had more success trying to pull the ball against Blake Snell. Every once in a while, I could get that changeup that started middle in and kind of leaked over the plate, and maybe I can, ass out it, flip it over the shortstop head. And to me, the curveball is like the trap pitch with him. It's nasty. It looks like a strike, and I think if you could try to eliminate that, I think the Blue Jays can, have some success off of him. You're going up against one of the game's best, who's pitching at his best right now, and I think that is the most interesting storyline in this series is the elite starting pitching versus the bat and ball skills against the Toronto Blue Jays. It's going to be very interesting to watch.
You check 2 boxes. Blue Jays fans, and your boots on the ground right now. There's 2 guys on the Dodgers, Roki Sasaki and Shohei Ohtani, who were rumored or maybe just used as a manipulating, tactic of going to the Blue Jays. We'll never know until they honestly are on a lie detector test if Roki and Shohei were going to be coming to the Blue Jays or not. They seem destined to the Dodgers. Are they going to get loud enough boos that they're not going to be able to hear their name being said when they're announced?
I mean, maybe one of them, but there also is a large Japanese population here in Toronto, so I think there's going to be kind of mixed reviews with it. But regardless if those rumors are true or not true, and like you said, we're not going to know the entirety of the story until maybe many years later. What it did for the Blue Jays brand was very important. I think the fact that they went out and at least what we do know with certainty is they did have one of those meetings with Shohei. They had it with Roki. I believe they had it with Juan Soto. The fact that they are finally in a position with ownership, with Mark Shapiro, with Ross Atkins, with everyone involved, with the stadium renovations, that they want to be a team that is willing to go out and spend money on these type of free agents, that they want to be this destination for players to come, I think is part of the reason that they're here. I think they are a team that is willing to, they want to go down the same path that the Los Angeles Dodgers are going down, is we want to be a destination that players want to go and play for. Their selling point is, obviously Toronto is a great place, but it's a very international city. It also is the only place you represent an entire country. but it shows that they want to win year after year after year. And hopefully this is the first of many successful seasons for the Blue Jays, and obviously going out and signing Vladdy to that 14-year deal in spring training shows their commitment to winning.
All right, real simple question here. Should Bo Bichette play every single game in order for them to win this World Series?
Wow. It's a great question, Todd.
My thing is,
I thought my initial thought process, as he was trending in the right direction, and like I said, me getting a chance to talk to him, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. I've only seen what I've seen. I've had my conversations with him, but I thought as the series went on and the Blue Jays won, I thought without a doubt Bo Bichette would be on the playoff roster. In what capacity would they use him? At the very least, I think Bo Bichette sitting on the bench as a right-handed bat, with, his name on the back of the jersey, with the type of hitter he is, with the type of, stage he commands, with his ability to put the ball in play. The one thing he did tell me is he believes in his ability to put in a great at-bat together right now. And that might have been a week ago when he said it. Like, that is his greatest attribute as a player, is he can put together a great at-bat. Whether he plays second base or he DHs or he's sitting on the bench, I think him being on the roster just makes decisions that Dave Roberts may have to make later in the game a little bit more challenging. Does he go to that left-hander like in the 7th inning in that Varsho Barger window, knowing that there's this Bo Bichette guy sitting on the bench, and they also have a guy by the name of Ty France that they added to the roster? If you don't believe that both of those guys were added to the roster, as right-handed bats that can kind of counteract some of the left-handed pitching that they had coming out of the bullpen, you're crazy. I would personally like to see Bo Bichette maybe in game 1. Man, if he could DH, that would be like the ideal situation. But I think finding him a window where he gets a pinch hit in a game to really kind of see where the heartbeat's at, where the body's at, where the swing is at, where the timing's at, and if he's able to get on base, how does he actually look running down the line? I don't believe he's a guy that if he pinch hits in a game, is he going to stay in the game to run the bases and play the field? Maybe there's this, slow entry to the series, and maybe by game 2 or 3, if he's really trending in the right direction, maybe we see him out there. But it'll be interesting to see if Bo Bichette, and I haven't been around the team all year, and I didn't really get a chance to play with Bo. Is he a guy that comes out for BP? Is he a guy that comes out and takes ground balls? I'm certainly going to be over there during batting practice, and that's what I want to look for. Is Bo Bichette out there hitting with his team? Is he out there taking ground balls? And how does he friggin' look? Does he look the part? Does he look like he can play 9 innings today? But I think it's regardless of what capacity he's in, I think it's going to make decisions on the Dodgers a little bit more tough.
I think the good number to set is 7 hits. Over, under, that's how many Schwarber got when he came back, and he came back from his ACL. So we'll see. But the big problem for the Blue Jays is they don't have the length in their starting pitching. So they're going to rely on this bullpen. Scott had brought it up earlier in the show. Do you think they're going to go with kind of like a, hey, Chris Bassett, you're going to give us a little bit. Hey, I know, Trey Savage, maybe because he's young they wouldn't do it, but hey, today's your side day. We're going to go and we're going to give you, 2 innings just because of what we've seen from their second best reliever in Louis Varland. He's just pitched every single game. And once these guys see guys, it is lights out. So how are they going to deploy this? And where do you see some of the other guys that you're like, I don't know how they're going to use them being used in this bullpen?
Yeah, I highly doubt you see like a Kevin Gausman maybe before later in the series. I think you keep him fresh for, a game 6 start. Obviously, subject to change. If the Dodgers get out to an early lead in the series and game 6 isn't a guarantee, most definitely you'll see Kevin Gausman out there. But I think Chris Bassett is the biggest X factor. He didn't get really any run. I think he pitched in game 2 when the game was a little out of hand. Pitched a little bit differently. He had to pitch for length a little bit more in that game. But to no surprise, what John Snyder's done all year is kind of think outside the box. He talked to me, on the field, during game 3 of the CS. We had a long conversation, and his message in spring training was be you, and we are going to find a spot to maximize your skill set. And right now, Chris Bassett's skill set is being in that circle of trust with John Snyder. I don't think anyone really predicted, maybe outside me, because I said, Bassett was going to get into game 7, but I don't think anyone predicted him pitching the 8th inning of a 2-run game. But he's been there. He's done it. He's got a slow heartbeat. Kratz and Frazier, these games is so much about controlling the emotions, controlling the heartbeat. And what I was talking to Caleb Joseph about, when we're texting during the game about, when guys come in, we're talking the game, and we both kept asking for the curveball, because I believe in big moments when the game is at its highest moment. People can hit a friggin' fastball shot out of rifle. We're all moving fast. Our heartbeat's beating fast. I think sometimes slow is most effective in those situations. And sure enough, Chris Bassett, has the cojones to throw that 72-mile-an-hour curveball in there. And I expect that to be a factor in this game. Although the Dodgers have been there, done it, they have a little bit slower heartbeat than maybe the Toronto Blue Jays tonight. Expect John Snyder to, stay on script with like the Louis Varlands and the Jeff Hoffmans and the Sir Anthony Dominguez. But I don't think what happened to him with, Brandon Little in game 6 is going to affect the way that he uses. Maybe he finds a different pocket for him, but I expect all hands on deck. I expect some out of the box thinking and really just trusting his guys, because I think that's what's got him to this point. I don't expect John Schneider to change the way he's managed up until this point.
KP, hitting question for you, and we're going to cover this a little bit in our next segment, so you can help us kick this off. What do you have on the bat speed conversation and Dave Popkins, as if, he's bringing this concept to players like, hey, if you swing the bat faster like that could create an advantage for you, but also the balance, of course, of not striking out too much. So that, plus I'll add a story from Mitch Bannon in The Athletic that I read last night, and Popkins, who is beloved by the players, said in the first 2 games against the Mariners, they were owning the zone, and he said they needed more slug, and they were able to turn that on with their game plan. So I don't know if those 2 things I just asked are connected, but just curious to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I know it sounds kind of like an elementary thought that, more bat speed would equal more velocity and more power, but it wasn't probably something that was talked about a whole lot in maybe the previous regime of hitting coaches here. And that's me maybe speaking, out of turn. I don't know that definitively, but I do know that the new hitting coaches they brought in, implemented that. And, I wish it was as easy as, just saying, hey, we're going to alter our game plan. We're going to slug more. But the strength that the Blue Jays do have is that they do put the ball in play. And I think they just had to kind of recalibrate what they meant by putting the ball in play. It didn't mean just, hey, advance the ball. Like, let's take our shots early. I think we have a team that doesn't strike out and is that a really good contact team. Is you allow them to take bigger swings early in the count. You allow them to hunt pitches in certain zones and allow them to, quote unquote, maybe swing for the fences a little bit more early on in the count, because as they get deeper in the count, they have that ability to maybe shorten up a little bit, use the opposite field, just put the ball in play. Talking to front office, talking to, Mark Shapiro, they've talked about, Popkins and his staff as being, franchise altering decision, them bringing in, I've been around a lot of hitting coaches. I've had a lot of great hitting coaches. I've had some very average hitting coaches. My conversations with them is the exact type of guys that I wish I would have got a chance to, play for. What they're big on is stay with your strengths. We don't necessarily there's obviously a biomechanic aspect, but what they really want you to do is be the best athlete you can be. Being around them during early BP, they're just having these guys launch. And, does that translate into the game? No, but they want these guys to feel free and move fast and, have big leg kicks and move athletically. And then they can always kind of narrow that kind of, thought process, game planning, mechanic stuff. But really, they're just trying to get the best athlete out of every hitter. and getting their big guys, getting Vladdy and George was a big part of getting those guys on board. And, I from what I had heard, Carlos Correa maybe reaching out to George Springer and being like, hey, these guys are the real deals. Like, give them a chance, let them, trust these guys. And obviously George, was able to kind of trust these guys and move forward from, a couple rough years. And, he's going to get MVP votes this year. So a lot of credit to obviously the players, but behind the scenes, having great hitting coaches that are always constantly preaching positivity and getting your swing off. And, you guys could attest to it too. You get a lot of hitting coaches that say like, hey, I want you to hunt here, but I don't want you to go here, and don't chase here and this and this. They're really big on, hey, if this is your zone, you hunt here. If the pitch starts here and, it's a breaking ball fit and you get fooled, good. I want you to hunt this zone and get your swing off. And there's a lot of times they try to make an approach seem like it's so easy, like, oh, just hunt this pitch. Don't. Like, guys don't tunnel pitches now. They are good with you staying in your tunnel and getting your swing off. Type of guys that I wish I could play for, because a lot of times when you go up there with the idea of yes and no and no and yes, like, it starts to become a math equation as opposed to, let me just be the best friggin' athlete I could be. Let me grab this bat, let me swing it fast, and let me try to do some damage.
Hey, real quick, what did you say about Correa and Springer? So you're talking about Popkins, how you went from the Dodgers actually to the Twins. Twins let him go. Oops, they're bad. And then Correa said, hey, this guy's really good.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, like anytime whether you're a hitting coach, whether you're a sports psychiatrist, whether you're, a pitching coach, getting players like being able to come into a new environment, the hardest thing you can do is try to earn the trust of players. And if you have players maybe in another or your previous organization that are able to reach out to players, in your current organization, and you give them, their blessing, and you say, hey, this guy's the real deal, and you could kind of cut through that, that little dance maybe early on in the off season or spring training of like, why is this guy calling me? I don't know him. What's he have to offer me? When you can get a player's blessing and be like, you know what, this hitting coach was unbelievable. And there was places that I went, and I was able to either reach out to players or players reached out to me and was like, hey, Coach X is the real deal. And like, you don't have to go through that BS of like, what's he have to offer? Can I trust him? Can I be vulnerable with him? Is he going to run to the front office? Is he going to tell someone? Does he really know what he's talking about? When you get that confirmation from a guy like, Carlos Correa, who's obviously friends with, George Springer, and George Springer is able to hop on from day one because he heard from his buddy that, hey, Dave Hopkins is the real deal. And then, Springer maybe can convey that message to a Bo Bichette or a Vladdy, and you get your big boys on table, and then everyone else kind of follows. I think that's what you're seeing there, and obviously I wasn't around in spring training, but if you talk to these guys about them, they smile ear to ear with confidence in what that hitting department's been able to do for a lot of these players and what they're able to do game planning. And, I asked them questions before the game about, how you guys going to game plan for them? And I'm like, do you have a backup plan and a backup plan? And they just wink. So I think they're always, 1, 2, 3 steps ahead of maybe the counter that the pitcher or the opposing team has. So it's been a lot of fun to watch, and it definitely seems like a place that I would have thrived as a hitter.
Last question before we let you go. Fun little question. There's a lot of songs that are on here, a lot of artists that are playing. Give me your favorite one. We got Pharrell, we got Alessia Cara, BB Rexa, Jonas Brothers. Who are you most excited to hear either play the anthem or in between?
Where's the Jonas Brothers? Is that confirmed in LA already? Because I think the first two were confirmed here. Were the Jonas Brothers they're confirmed to do it at some point, right?
I thought it was game 1 and 2. Forget about Jonas Brothers. Then how about
I got it taking place after the 5th inning of game 2 and airing live on Fox. They'll extend the moment with a special. They're part of the Stand Up to Cancer, which is always one of my favorite parts of the season.
I didn't hear that. I heard about the game 1, game 2. I didn't hear the Jonas Brothers, but I mean, not my most favorite type of music, but I think Pharrell is kind of an icon in the music industry. I love hats, and he's got a sweet hat game. So I imagine his hat is going to take up a big part of the stadium wherever he's at. And, I heard that it's more than just him. I think it's going to be a full blown show. So I'm definitely excited to see what he brings pregame today.
Okay.
No,
yeah. If Drake
Drake.
wants to stop by, then he's invited, I'm sure, but we'll see. We'll see. This is his
No
moment.
Drake.
What do you guys got? What's your guys' predictions? I listened to a little bit early on, but I was coming back. What do you guys got?
In terms of the music or the game?
No. The game. The series.
The game?
Have
I
you
like
guys
what you
made your
said at the
predictions
beginning. No, we didn't do our predictions yet. We're going to do them at the end. I like what you said at the beginning. Like, I don't see the Blue Jays winning a short series. I think the Blue Jays either win in like a game 6 or 7, or the Dodgers can win in a 6 or 7, but they also could win in 4 or 5. I don't think the Blue Jays are winning in 4 or 5 games. The Dodgers are too good. Do you agree?
No, I agree.
Yeah.
He's not going to like my prediction, so I'm going to be quiet.
Okay,
No,
we're going
no,
to save
hey.
ours.
Hey, I want to
KP,
hear your
it's too early
prediction.
in the show.
I'd love to hear it.
Okay.
Oh, I got to
well,
listen
tune
later
in.
on the show.
You
Tune
gotta
in for
later.
tune
I'm
in for
sorry.
slap hands.
Log into foul
yeah.
territory in Canada. We're in Canada, Japan, Dominican, everywhere. KP, you'll see our picks.
I can't wait.
Okay. Well, KP, great segment. You're the man. You're crushing the broadcast game. Have fun out there. Enjoy it, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, see you guys next week.
See ya. That's Kevin Pillar, and also on the screen now, Ken Griffey Jr. and Mike Trout, part of the free-to-download MLB 9 Innings 25. Scan the QR code on the screen. You can download the game, and we'll be right back after a word from our friends Trout and Griffey.
I'll take it easy on you guys. Whatever.
Hey, Mike, you might want to back up.
Nah, bro, I'm good right here.
Yeah, you got no chance of getting it out of the infield anyway.
Last time you gave me something to hit, I took you deep. Come on in here.
What was that? That's not fair. I wasn't even ready.
Save it, Junior.
That's terrible.
Hey, Mad Dog, give me something to hit.
I love that.
Hey, subscribe to FT. We're flying. Press that sub button. Baseball the way it should be covered. Covering both teams, doing our best, and a shout out to the team behind the scenes, just bringing it. First class production, first class guest list this week too. KP, Smoltz, Bieber, and the list goes on and on. We have some word from Roki Sasaki on how serious his conversations with the Blue Jays were. Remember, the Blue Jays actually have Miles Straw on their roster because they were freeing up space. They took that money on from Cleveland, and good for them. They actually got themselves a player who's having his best season ever, I think. It's either number 1 or number 2 from him. He's been a really valuable part of this team, and he's on the roster here. He's fast. He's a good defender. Anyway, we can show you what Roki said. He was strongly considering the Blue Jays and was definitely close to signing with Toronto. It's actually really hard. This is the quote. It's actually really hard to express why I eventually chose the Dodgers. Really?
Can't
This
be
is
too
no
hard to-
slight.
Can't be
but
too hard to express because he
it's-
didn't go there.
Yeah. I don't believe you.
So
I'm
hard.
sorry.
It's so hard. I can't even come up with the words. Maybe I'll ask my agent why, for the years before that I signed here, he was pushing me for the Dodgers. It's
Yeah.
just, I can't figure out why, but I'll put together a statement at some point to tell you why I chose the Dodgers.
Yeah. That's a tough one. I mean, I don't believe him, but that's okay. That's me. It's not a conspiracy either. At the time when people are like, there already was a pre-cut deal. A pre-cut deal for what? Every team was paying him between like $5 and $10 million. This is not Yamamoto's contract. So I'm like, it's not that. He wanted to go there. It's a team that's very good at recruiting Japanese players.
Yeah.
They happen to have the best player of all time on that team. He's Japanese. They're really good. It's not a surprise.
There's too many statements that are like, wait, what? Of course they knew where they were going to go. Be a bad agent if you didn't tell them.
I like the calm waves on a Friday. We're looking ahead.
Too cold to see the waves right now.
It is a little chilly Davis outside.
Oh,
A little bit. Haven't used that in a minute. Haven't used that since last winter. Okay. So we talked a lot about game one, and we'll continue to talk about game one in the series, but let's spend a few minutes on game two. Why? Because Foul Territory is a Monday through Friday show. Now, we are going to be on after the World Series game one, so we'll still talk about game two, but I just want to bring up Kevin Gausman specifically. Gausman is pitching game two instead of game one. Makes sense. Give him an extra day. He pitched in game seven. Savage did not, so he's lined up. Shai Davidi posted the quote from Gausman. I just want to get the player perspective from you guys, and I'll read it for you if I can see it. So he was throwing a side yesterday, and he said he went into game 7 of the ALCS knowing that, quote, if I did get in that game, that maybe game 1 would be kind of a stretch. That was hard for me to swallow, to be honest, he continued, but quote, I would hate to go out there not knowing exactly what I'm going to get out of myself. That played a big part in the last couple days. Kratz, I'll let you start as the catcher, where somebody's got to do real talk. I keep bringing up Matthew Boyd from that Cubs series when he went on short rest against the Brewers and it didn't work out. And to me, I think it's a very similar case.
Very similar case. You have to understand your body. Now, I'm not saying Matthew Boyd didn't understand his body. I'm saying Gausman knew that for him to fully commit to his outing, however long it was going to be in game 7, it would probably be a detriment to him being able to start game 1. And good for the Blue Jays in understanding that and not saying, you're our best. We got to go. We got to push you. You saw what happened. You see what happens all the time. Not just Matthew Boyd, but you see what happens all the time. The difference is in the Matthew Boyd game, they were up against it. The Blue Jays are not up against it. He throws game 1. He throws again game 5. He throws game 2. He throws again game 6. Matthew Boyd throws game 2 in the NLDS. There's no game 6. So that's a tougher. They were up against it a little bit differently, but this isn't just a Gausman thing because every player wants to get out there and throw in the game. If you think you're the best player out there, you're going to pitch. You're going to hit. It's the organization that has to say, okay, we're good. We're gonna push you back because what you gave us in game 7.
Yeah, and I think it's his bulldog mentality. I think that's the other issue. He wants to be out there. He wants to help out as much as possible, but he also understood I feel like being that game 1 starter, it kind of sets the tone, and I feel like that's where he's at with it. I think he's understanding about it and knows that's the possibility if I came in, and it was. So, but for him, I think he wants the ball now. He wants to be that number 1 guy, and he doesn't have to prove anybody, but to prove everybody that he is one of the top starters in the league. So that's where I'm at with it, and I think it's water under the bridge now. It's time. It's go time tonight. But for him to say that, it ate him up a little bit, of course. But I think he understands going game 2 will be just fine as well. If they win game 1, I think he's going to be even more hyped.
Hey, coming up next, we're going to take a few minutes to break away from the World Series to bring up a story that we haven't really covered much, but it's big. It's a team that's usually in contention, and they weren't this year. The Atlanta Braves have a managerial opening. Grant McAuley is going to join us after we chat with him. We'll jump right back into the World Series. Hey, it's FT presented by Fox One. I'm going back and forth in the chat right now saying I wasn't knocking Roki at all for making the choice. I was just saying I don't believe him. And then I said I don't blame him at all, but respectfully, I don't believe that he was, quote, on a plane to Toronto. And they're like, he wasn't on a plane, or he visited. It was a joke. I was joking, like the Otani thing.
Yeah.
That was a cross joke. That's why I don't think everybody people don't necessarily get satire on streaming. Like, we need to bring more satire back.
It's tough when you're typing, but I'm trying. That's why I said, all right, I'll bring it up right now. Jay Farrell said, does anyone doubt Vlad had an agreement with the Jays? Like what? 500 million? I don't know. I don't think so. Are you
Vlad
talking about when he
going.
first signed?
Vlad
out
was
of the
not
deal.
going back to Toronto. Especially, think about if Vlad was a free agent this year. Toronto did the best thing they could possibly do. Not only free up that team, but also free up like, hey, you know what? We're going to get guys to come and play with Vladdy in the future, all that stuff. But right now, the postseason he's having, and then all of a sudden, 5 days after this World Series is over, my guy is a free agent. Oh boy, they weren't getting him back. Vladdy was going to the market, and he has shown how athletic he is. He's shown how he can hit. He has more home runs in the postseason than swings and misses. Everybody wants him.
Yeah, he's insane. And I got a question in the chat asking me earlier if I thought that the success of the Blue Jays will help them recruit free agents in the future. Absolutely. Free agents want to go to good teams. And there is a roadblock when you're going to a different country and there's customs and the taxes are way higher, all that. But when you have a competitive team, that helps. You know what else helps? The Vladdy contract helps. Hey, we're committed long-term. This is a franchise player. He's one of the best bats in baseball. He's here for you. That helps. That makes a big difference. You ask almost anybody in that organization this year, and they said they felt like this year was different because it was always about Vladdy and Bo, and are they leaving, and are they committed, blah, 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 right? Bo, we'll see what happens in the offseason, but Vladdy's the guy there. And once they did that, things changed. It's true.
And they made it a destination. They've made Toronto a destination with their amenities, with everything. We joked about the Angels amenities. Now they have a player that you want to go and play with. Like, it's becoming a place.
Grant McAuley joining us right now. Fantastic job always covering the Atlanta Braves. Grant, great to have you on the show and back again. This is a little earlier than anticipated because, of course, we'll get into some Braves moves. But we did want to give you a quick phone call. We were like, hey, what should we do for our one non-World Series segment? I'm like, who's going to be the next manager of the Atlanta Braves? So I just wanted to start there with you, Grant. What's the latest? This story has barely gotten any national coverage because it's World Series time.
Yeah, and it's a really good question, I think, in a lot of ways, because there was so much continuity for the Braves for so long. You track it back to 1990, the Braves have had 3 managers since Bobby Cox stepped out of the GM role and back into the dugout. You had him for better than 2 decades. You had Freddie Gonzalez for a few years, and you had Brian Snitker for nearly a decade. This is just, I won't say uncharted territory for the Braves, but it's obviously going to be different. So I've been curious, what attention would be given to somebody who's already on staff, whether that was a Walt Weiss or an Eddie Perez. I think those have been, obviously Walt has managed before. Eddie's been a managerial prospect for a while and does some work in the Winter League, and I think could be a manager one day. But then there's just that case to be made for, do you want a different voice? Do you want a younger voice? Do you want somebody outside the organization who can just bring something different in and see if that's something that could kind of spark a club that has gone through the last couple of years, a lot of injuries, obviously, but there's been some lack of performance that really bit them offensively the past couple of years as well. So I say all of that to say, I'm not sure that there's a really clear answer. I think we've heard candidates from David Ross to Mark DeRosa and others who have big league experience. John Gibbons, when he exited the Mets job, obviously, I think that got attention because he managed under Anthopoulos in Toronto. But I don't know if there's a clear front runner right now. I'm sure that the Braves, as they always do, are moving silently and having all the conversations they want to so that they can break the news themselves. But there's a lot of conjecture and a lot of different directions it could go, I guess.
But isn't there a Braves archetype? Like when you say, okay, Braves manager, can they go outside of the what you just said, Freddie Gonzalez, Bobby Cox, Snit, and say, okay, this organization needs this. If there's anybody that understands people, it's it's Alex Anthopoulos. But is the Braves as an organization able to go away from that archetype of the older manager that's experienced, and now this roster is experienced? They just need a little prodding.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's really kind of hard to handicap it because if you want to track it back to 2016 when Freddie Gonzalez was let go, Brian Snitker was only meant to come in there and just keep the ship, afloat. Basically, they were going to reassess everything. And I think by the end of 2017, there were some rumblings that, hey, we're going to go a whole new direction in 2018. And then the Braves did, because their general manager was let go. They had to go through a whole bunch of turmoil behind the scenes. And Alex Anthopoulos came in and said, look, I just want to get to know this guy. So they built a relationship over time. And this, I think, represents really Alex's first opportunity to kind of look at it through his lens for what he wants and what he values in a manager. And I think Brian Snitker embodied a lot of those qualities, but they were kind of thrown together, at least to start with. They just built a great partnership. So I think with that in mind, there's really no impetus to just keep it status quo or keep it with somebody who was under the Bobby Cox coaching tree. But on the flip side of the coin, I'll also tell you, that's a pretty good coaching tree. So if you do get somebody from there, I think it'll still bring that continuity and that voice that the Braves are looking for. I think they just really have this unique chance for the first time in a while to really just assess what is it we need? What do some of these candidates have to offer? Whether that's a first-time manager, which would be interesting and not necessarily what I expect, or if it's somebody who's just kind of younger in their managerial career who could stick around for a long time and maybe build himself into the next long line of continuity that the Braves have at the managerial spot.
We're talking to Grant McAuley, who's a great follow on Twitter at Grant McAuley, and you can hear him on 92.9 The Game down there in ATL, and also his weekly From the Diamond Show, which I've been on, which is great. My next one for you, Grant, of any of the names that you heard, clearly that we're getting a list narrowed down at this point. Was there one that you were surprised didn't make it as somewhat of a finalist?
Yeah, well, the big thing with Alex was I think that his goal was, he told us this at his end of season media availability, which went for nearly 90 minutes. And it was, if I have my way, you guys will never know who we talked to. You'll never know who our finalists were. And we'll just announce who our new manager is and we'll move forward. And to his credit, haven't heard a lot about, anybody coming in and being confirmed to have to have interviewed for the managerial job. So the names that I've heard are not altogether any surprises, whether it's the David Rosses or the Mark DeRosas, George Lombard, who was a Braves farmhand for a long time, has been a coach in the major leagues for quite a while as well. Ryan Flaherty's name has been thrown around. Obviously, we saw San Francisco went a completely different direction, hire a coach from the University of Tennessee, and that was a name that I think David O'Brien of The Athletic threw out there as well as a managerial prospect. But Alex kind of, tongue-in-cheek maybe, laughed at the speculation, but then again, I think that there was still that open door possibility of one more year of Brian Snitker, so maybe they weren't that far down the road of making a list. Make of that what you will. I do think that the Braves have obviously had some conversations to this point, and I think they'd like to get this thing done so you can have it in place so that you can go into your winter with the kind of things that are set up, because it's not like the Braves need to do a ton of roster moves, but there are some important decisions to make. And I'm also fascinated to see how they round out the coaching staff, who stays, who goes, maybe not just in 2026, but moving forward under a new manager. Who are they going to look to keep around from that standpoint? So if they want to make changes there, would it behoove them to do that earlier in the winter so that they're able to snap up some candidates or guys that they like in that regard?
All right. Managers are done with. Finally, when they finalize that, let's get back to the team a little bit. Is there a name or two under the radar names, prospects wise, that you're going to be looking for to make a boom or an impact on this Braves team as they move forward into next year?
Yeah, the Braves farm system is not what it was 7 or 8 years ago, Todd, but that doesn't mean that it still can't produce players that can definitely impact the Braves at the big league level. We saw it a couple of years ago when Michael Harris and Spencer Strider both exploded onto the scene at the exact same time. We just saw it this past year with Drake Baldwin, who pushed his way into the catching situation for the Braves and I think should win the National League Rookie of the Year. We saw Hurst and Waldrop late in the season, who I would put on that short list of guys I expect to really have that opportunity to show out for the Braves next year and help them in an area in which they were absolutely decimated in 2025. It was injuries to the starting staff. I have never seen an entire opening day rotation end up on the 60-day IL at the same time, and the Braves somehow managed to check that box this year. It's one of the many things that went wrong. So Waldrop's a guy I'm looking at really closely. There are some other arms that I think they could look to push through the system, but will they arrive next year? The Cam Caminettis of the world. J.R. Ritchie's been really impressive. They've got some really good arms. Position player-wise, it's a little bit light, but if you're looking at positions that the Braves need to fill, I think shortstop's that spot, and we can talk about that a little bit. Their hope is that Ha-Seong Kim, who was able to come in and kind of get an orientation for a month, will decide that he likes Atlanta enough to maybe stick around for at least 2026.
Grant, good stuff. Thank you for stopping by for a quick chit chat. And as soon as the World Series is over, Obviously, we'll dive back in. Braves fans right now sitting on the sideline, probably rooting against the Dodgers, right? Is that the sentiment down there?
Probably fair to say. I don't know that there's really any way to just root for the leagues anymore. I don't know if that's even a thing or ever was a thing in Major League Baseball. But yeah, probably never rooting for the Dodgers around these parts.
Yep, that makes sense.
Should we ask him though, real quick?
What?
What do you think the series is going to be?
You got a prediction?
In prediction, 10 seconds.
I'll tell you, 7 games is what I want. I think Toronto has the best chance of really giving the Dodgers a test. So I'll go Toronto in 7 games.
Oh,
okay. Real quick at the buzzer, actually, just thought of this. Braves fans, do they like when Freddie thrives there? Like, is it a bittersweet root for him last year when he was ridiculous in the World Series?
It's probably bittersweet, but if you know Freddie Freeman, if you've had a chance to get to know him the way that Braves fans had, I understand that the separation, it was what it was, but he as a person is easy to root for, and I'll always want to see Freddie have success. That may sound kind of counter to saying that you're never rooting for the Dodgers around here, but on a personal level, I'll always kind of look at Freddie as a guy that I just want to see the best things for him.
I'm with you, and you're a good dude, so that makes sense. Grant, you're the man. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy this series, and thanks for stopping by, dude.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Check out Grant at Grant McAuley on Twitter and all of the shows he's got in the mix down there in ATL. BetMGM locks, money bags. We got work to do this postseason. We've got 4 to 7 games left. Pap's up. Erik Kratz is up first, though, today because I have sad news. Kratz is going to leave the show about 10 minutes early today.
Oh, no.
He has an assignment, and he's going to join us later. Exactly. He's going to join us this evening for post-game action. But you get to lay out what you think is going to happen tonight. What's your lock?
Nice and easy. Blake Snell over 17.5. I think they're going to try to stick to the same script. So it's over 17.5 outs. The Blue Jays put the ball in play early. He's been attacking the zone. I don't care how many strikeouts he gets. It's about the outs. And that's coming off at minus 120, probably the lowest I'll go. And I'll put 120 down to win a hunch.
I got you at plus 104. No?
That was my BetMGM boost that they put in there. That's my bad. I told producer lady that I gave that to her, and I did not. I forgot to change it on the picture. I always send a picture into producer later. That's not producer lady's fault. That's my fault. But thank you, BetMGM, for that massive boost that I got.
You went from minus to plus. You devil, you. I'll do mine, and then Todd, Father, and Pap will do theirs next segment. The over/under 6.5. Minus 115.
That's crazy.
It's World Series, so I'll go 230 to win 200. I'm going over. Could be 2-1. Could be 8-6. 6.5. Usually when it's like that, you're getting pushed to go over, but it's under. But I'm going to go over. I think these are two really good offenses. Blake Snell's been so money this postseason. Is he going to be perfect every single pitch like he's been? Or did the Blue Jays crack him? I think the Blue Jays might have the best offense this year in baseball. So I think they can get to him. And the Dodgers offense is awesome. And I don't love either bullpen. I think they're good, not great. So over for me. Take it for what it is. We might get some offense in this series. Might not come in this game, but I think we will get offense at some point. So
how you doing?
I'll go over. We'll get Todd, Father, and Pap on the other side when we swing back after we do a little segment on offense and bat speed.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Okay, we have great articles out there on the Blue Jays and their superstar hitting coach, David Popkins. He's gotten a lot of attention, and he actually spent a lot of time with the Dodgers at first. He was trying to make it. He didn't make it. Ends up hired by the Dodgers as a player coach because they didn't have any coach spots. And Robert Benskoyak, who's been involved with the Dodgers for a long time now, called him. And he was like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, oh, the Phillies are going to hire me for a job within their minor league system. He's like, nope, you're coming to us. So he stopped that and he got him. He's like, this guy's special. Eventually moves on to hitting coach of the Twins. Now he's with the Blue Jays. Great story. And the guys love him. And they said the adjustments they're making are so much quicker these days. But what I want to focus on here, Kratz, with you first, because then you're going to jump during the segment at some point, is bat speed. Bat speed is now measurable. We have statistics for that came out, I believe, last year. For the first time, the Blue Jays were able to increase their bat speed. And I want to add one thing to the mix here from Brent Rooker, because it's a big topic of conversation. And Rooker is one of the smartest brains in the sport. And he tweeted about this. And of course, it got a ton of love. He was tweeting about the fact that the concept is not new. He said the fact that the idea of, quote, swinging the bat faster is better is considered new age analytical thinking is insane. Gaining speed, power, force production has been beneficial for every athlete in every sport since the beginning of time. Pitchers who throw harder have higher ceilings. Golfers who swing the club faster have higher ceilings. Running backs who run faster have higher ceilings. Basketball players who jump higher have higher ceilings, etc. Does it mean that those who are bigger, faster, stronger will automatically be better? Of course not. Skill, mental makeup, competitive edge, prep, and 1,000 other things all play a massive part in overall success. But the fact that being more physically explosive and producing more force gives you a greater chance for success has always and will always be true. Kratz, your thoughts?
Thank you, Brent, for saying exactly what everybody was thinking. And in no way am I trying to be like, get off my lawn, old guy. But this is information that I think you could look at it. I think you look at it and say, okay, the extremes from last year, not this year, the extremes were Giancarlo Stanton, Luis Ariz. You're going to say G has a faster bat. Everybody else is in the middle there. The difference is these numbers are so close. And when you're talking about like increasing your bat speed, that's what everybody wants to do. You'd hear it every year in August. Minor leagues, big leagues. I'm going to go, you go up to the training, you'll go up to the strength guy and you're like, hey, I want to cut some weight, get stronger, get faster, and be more flexible. Well, yeah, duh. That's the whole point. You want to push yourself to the limit. I remember Mike Zunino was hurt when I went over to the Rays, and he went in on one of their first like biometric like room things that they were doing, and he hit off the tee, and he was hurt. So he was able to swing. I forget what even he hurt, but obviously he was swinging, so it wasn't anything crazy. But he started using like smaller bats. He started using lighter bats to test the bat speed. So with bat speed, with increased bat speed, there are negatives. Giancarlo Stanton has had last year the fastest bat speed. This year was O'Neal Cruz. Those guys swing and miss a lot. Why do they swing and miss a lot? Because they have fast bat speed. They should be able to get to everything. Yes, but the bat stays in the zone a lot shorter amount of time. Even if it's the same path as Luis Ariz, it stays in the zone. So do you just blindly increase your bat speed? No. You do it methodically and understanding what that extra bat speed does. Do I have to stay to right center instead of trying to drive the ball to center? I'm a pull hitter, adding more bat speed for a guy like Isaac Paredes? Might not be it. Because he always gets to the balls inside. He always extends on the balls away. So just increasing bat speed doesn't make you a better hitter, but it is one of the compartments of it. And I think it's a way that analytically, guys that never played can't see that, but they can say, hey, this is a trend that works. But they also shouldn't only evaluate guys on the fact that, okay, if I have a 74 mile an hour bat speed and Todd has a 73 mile an hour bat speed, well, Erik Kratz must be a better player. You look at the baseball cards and Todd's trophy case, that will tell you that's not the case.
I want to make a point here too. When we're talking about bat speed, so people understand, it's not like, so I'm in my stance, it's not here, the bat speed, it's when they're about to get on impact. So it's a little shorter. If you could see, it's there on impact, like a tennis player when they hit it, that's the impact. It's not starting from right here when you're about to swing. It's the impact right when you're about to meet the baseball. And I think that's what people got to understand too as a hitter. If people are thinking about this and reading it and understanding it and going through it. They're like, oh my God, he must start his swing so hard as he swings. No, the power comes from about a foot from the connection and the whip through the zone, and everything takes care of it. The bat speed, the pitcher speed, the direction of the baseball, where you're hitting the baseball. And I do lessons for kids and talk to kids all the time. I tell them, just swing as hard as you can. Let's see what happens. And we go through a drill to see how hard they can, and they're swinging from their shoulder and their back hip. I said, now go slow to the ball and try and swing as hard as you can right before you're impacting the ball, and you see a bigger difference. Yeah, I think Brett Rooker was really good at his explanations, and I think, when we're talking about this is something that, has been going on forever, in my opinion. Bat speed. How do we gain more bat speed? Well, it's the impact right before you hit the baseball. And if you can master that, you're going to hit the ball a lot harder.
I have a follow-up. Is it helpful that you have numbers? I think back to our conversation with Shane Bieber yesterday, Kratz, and he's like, yeah, we kind of joke around about how we're looking at the iPad and we're checking out the numbers, and we try not to make it everything. But he goes, it is nice to sometimes be like, oh, I felt good on that one. And then he checked the numbers and he's like, yeah, vertical break, good. Or spin rate on that one, good.
Yeah, it's so important you have numbers, because we're talking about fine. I had it pulled up here. I'm going to pull it up again. I have all of this year's numbers. Last year's numbers. I have them pulled up right now. Giancarlo Stanton has 81.2 mile an hour average bat speed. That's not his peak. That's just his average, okay? Then you go down to number 50 in the league. You're talking Willy Adames, still above average, 73.6. When we go down to below average, you're talking about guys like Logan O'Hoppe, friend of the show, Bo Naylor, Pete Crow Armstrong, all at 70.6. So you're talking about a 3 mile an hour difference in bat speed average. Seems like a lot, but it's a very fine, minute amount. So how do you make your swing the most powerful and the most consistent? And I think that's where we miss some of these. When people say analytics, these numbers are awesome. I need to know that if there was one point in my career where you could have probably ground sawdust out of the handle on my bat because I would hold it so hard. And the more you just let that thing relax in your hands, the faster your bat speed is going to be. Now, that's what I was told. If I had the numbers and said, okay, I'm going to give you the most, I'm holding this handle so hard, swing, and then you see it in a number and you go, oh, wait, I held that real loose in my hands and I had better bat speed. Now, all of a sudden, you can work from there and you're not wondering, well, I swung light that time. I held it light, but I still swung and missed, because the game's hard. The game is hard. But knowing that, you can go from there. It's a jumping off point to say, okay, this makes me a better player because my bat speed's better. But what are the issues that come with it?
That's good stuff. Do you feel the same way, where if it was available, you would take a little peek?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I'm the old school guy, man. I would see it and hit it.
Because you're also a natural.
But that's the thing. But that's kind of what helped me. But at the same time, maybe I should have done a little bit more. I always thought when I saw I had too much information, Scott, I was just, my brain, I'm like, nah, I'm too fried already to even think about anything else besides seeing a fastball and hitting it and reacting to off speed. I mean, if you look at the back of my baseball card, it's going to show you the power numbers and everything else. I was really bad at hitting off speed pitches. And I think maybe with a little bit of help, maybe I could have, instead of sitting fastball the whole time, could have been ready for an off-speed pitch and took a chance. But it's just something that I couldn't really get off of. So, thanks for that. That makes me feel better seeing those things on the bottom of the screen.
All-Star Derby, the whole deal.
Yes, I was that guy. And
Wait.
Kratzy knew it too. Fastballs in, sliders away, and what if the pitcher made a mistake, I was getting to him. That was it.
Yeah, you made him pay.
Yeah.
Don't miss. But my question is, it's one thing in a game. Would you use this at all in BP? Would you use this in the off season just to take a peek and see what it's looking like and see if that changes things for you? Because I get what you're saying in game, and we have examples. I mean, most of the league is like this. Let's use Trey Savage. He's starting game 1. Yeah. He was asked about how he uses information, and he said, I'm old school, and he's young. I mean, he's one of the youngest starters ever in the postseason in the World Series. I think second youngest ever to start game 1.
Okay.
But he said he can't do any of that thinking during the game. He's like, I'm at my best when I'm blacked out. I'm just dealing. That doesn't mean he doesn't use any of that at other times on his pen day or in the off season, right? I mean, my guess is that he used information to get to where he's at. He didn't even have a splitter when he first got to school. Yeah. So there were ads made, there were pitch tweaks, there were mechanical tweaks, and data and video cameras, all of that is very helpful for this stuff. So that's my question to you. If you're playing right now and it's the off season and I'm like, hey, bat speed's a thing. You want to just like do your swings, do your thing. Let's just see where it's at and track it all off season.
Maybe I should have.
Well, we didn't have it. We didn't have it. So it didn't matter.
You're right.
But would you have taken a peek? Like if I'm here, right? I mean, you're training here at home and I'm with you and I'm like, yo, I'm going to bring the bat speed machine, whatever the heck they use to measure it, right? The StatCast machine. Do you want it there so you can just see how it's looking?
I think I would have loved to seen it.
Yeah.
What I've done with it, I don't know. You know what I mean? It would be, hey, listen, these are the percentages in the zone where your hands need to be, this and that. I had really good hitting coaches, and they didn't really want to change anything. There a couple things they wanted to change. Where I'm making contact with the ball and staying on a flat plane when I swung. That doesn't necessarily mean I was swinging flat, but it kept my mind thinking that I was coming down to the ball and getting backspin on it. But every one of my swings was not like that. But my mindset in BP was down to it, long through it. Just down to it, long through it, get that backspin and go. And any numbers or metrics or videos that were around, if any, they knew that, one, it wasn't really going to help me because my swing was unique as it was. I had an arm bar. It's tough to get away from that if that arm is not coming through and bending as it's coming through for the motion of your swing. So for me, I would have loved to seen it, but at the same time, it would have probably been more information in my head what I really didn't need to know.
That's good info right there.
Yeah.
That's why we have this show, or part of the reason why. So hope you enjoyed it. If you have any other questions about what Todd Father or Kratz said, I'll try and check it out at some point, and we but good topic of discussion. Coming up next, slap hands and a special shout out we'll do during it.
FT Nation, what's up? It's your boy Parlay Pap coming to you on this beautiful Friday for the World Series Game 1. And look, I'm going with the away team. I'm going with Blake Snell. Blake Snell has been dealing, man. And you Savage, good luck to you, rookie. Good luck to you in this World Series game. I hope you do well, but I'm not expecting much, kid. So hang with them. And the Dodgers got to score more than 2.5 runs I've got on one of my parlays, and the other parlay, Dodgers got to win. So let's go Dodgers.
Oh, I like that bet too.
You do?
That's a really good bet. You got to win and get out. They're going to score more in my. Well, actually,
especially if you win.
6.5. You never know. They might score 2-1.
Yeah, but over 2, right? That's where you get hooked, and that's how he bought it down.
130 is not bad at all. For
them. Because what do you have? I think this plays to he looked at what you looked at, I think, and was like, can I get cute?
Yeah, I'm just going Dodgers money line.
Okay.
Blake Snell's going to have a day. I know it's a little bigger, minus 155. So I'm trying to win $1,000. So what is that? $1,550 to win 1,000. I need to get back underneath the thousands here. I'm risking it for the biscuit, baby. Let's go. It's going just like with Pat. I'm talking like him. But no, straight up Dodgers to win. Don't matter how, don't matter when. Can't wait to watch these games. This is going to be really, really exciting. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
My people of FT.
My people of FT live.
There's your locks. And with an MLB World Series no sweat same game parlay token. You can get your stake back in bonus bets up to $1,000 if you don't win. To take advantage of the offer, 3 steps. Log in online or on the app and activate that no sweat SGP token. You place it in your bet slip and attach the token to it. And if you don't win, you get your stake back in bonus bets. More information if you check out the app or online. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. There it is. World Series time, baby. All right, we'll be right back for Slap. All right, let's slap. We got 2 orders of business. Number 1, I just love that graphic. Foul Territory post game after World Series Game 1, live on the FT YouTube channel. Be there. Dodgers, Blue Jays, baby. It's happening. It's tonight. We're watching, and then we're talking to you. We're excited about it. And we want to give a special shout out right now to our buddy Calvin. He's a fan of FT. Actually, his Little League coach is a big fan. His coach, Marty. Yeah. And he's got his own YouTube channel, New York Sports Wire. So if you want to give him a little bit of love, Calvin's home right now, battling cancer. He's 9 years old. He's out of school. He's doing his thing. Big sports fan. Tons of personality. Got a great left-handed swing. Loves playing the outfield. Can handle a little first base. Okay. So this is a baseball lifer. He loves the game, and he is doing his best. He's battling it right now. So, Calvin, we're thinking about you, man. Keep trucking through that. You've got this. And a little side hustle while he's doing it. That's a superstar 9-year-old.
Shop, baby. Talking baseball.
Let's
go, kid.
Well raised. Mets fan. Watched you. So
enjoy the World Series too, kid.
We're thinking about you, Calvin. You're the man. And for everyone else, enjoy the World Series. Who's winning the series?
Dodgers in 5.
Okay. I'll go Dodgers in 6. I don't feel great about it. My heart thinks the Blue Jays are going to be this crazy story, but man, the Dodgers are so dominant.
They might win one these first 2 games, but they're not winning at home.
We'll see you tonight, post game.
We'll see.